Hello and welcome back. I am going to be taking you through my reading plans for March because somehow today is the 1st of March. I know February is obviously a short month, but even so, it went by so quickly this year. There was just so much going on. I actually read a lot of books last month. Some of them were quite short and fast, but definitely more books than I have been reading recently. Whether that's a good or a bad thing, given the quantities, I don't know. But I'm very much enjoying reading at the moment and excited to have another good month. I've been keeping my TBRs really vague. Like, they're very goal driven rather than specific books. And that has been amazing to a certain extent because I have just been able to pick up what feels right. I had so many different things going on that I was trying to achieve at the end of last year that reading became almost like a job. It was like, you have to make sure you do this and this and this and this. And some parts of that were great. I, significantly reduced my physical TBR, which has taken so much pressure off me and all these other things. But I think I just needed that bit of freedom to say, hey, read whatever you fancy. However, that has meant that on the days that I can't concentrate or things like that, I have just been a bit stuck in what to pick up. So my hope is that we can take the vague goals, put a couple of suggested books against them, and then hopefully when it gets to that point, I will be in a better position to decide what to read. So in terms of the topics that I want to read to each month, I have got progressing my challenges. I have joined quite a few challenges on Storygraph. Some of them have specific prompts for every month. Some of them I'm just sort of chipping away at in the background, and probably once it gets to the later point of the year, I'll start then trying to clear up any prompts I haven't already hit. I have got reading a digital owned book, because last year, while I did a great job on my physical TBR, I made basically no progress on my digital TBR at all. I have got reading a physical owned book from each of 2024, 2025 and 2026. So I've not got too many in each. It's about, I think, maybe 7 or 8 books from 2024, about the same from 2025, and then 2 books that I have bought in 2026 that I haven't read yet. But I just want to try and read one of each of those to keep on top of the numbers. And then also I want to continue some series because obviously, as always, I read so many series. I don't even want to talk about how many series I started in February. Like, it was quite a few. Although I did actually then also complete a few as well. So we need to do that. But yeah, continuing some series is definitely something that I have on my plan. So let's start with the challenges, and let's have a look at the first challenge that I have on Storygraph that I needed to get a prompt for this month. Okay, so the first challenge that we need to do a pick for is randomise your TBR. So if I go down to the March prompt, oh, it's a nice and simple one this time. Okay, sort your TBR by earliest added, generate a random number from 1 to 20 and select the corresponding book. This is a call out then for those of us who put books on our to read list and never get to them. Okay, let's have a look and see what we get. So, sort by earliest added. And then let's get a number between 1 and 20 to see which one we're going to pick. Alright, I have got my D20 and we have got number 6. Alright, so number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we have got Little Slice of Hell by Cleo Evans. This is book 1 in the Creature Cafe list. I was about to make the really obvious comment that this has been on my TBR for ages, but of course it has. That's how it came up. So I really don't remember much, but I think these are fairly short books. So I guess I'll either like it and want to read the rest of the series, or I won't, and that'll be another one off my list. So let's add this to the challenge. And there we go. That is one of my picks done. Okay, so that's great. I love the randomizer TBR because it is very much keeping me honest about everything that is on my to-read list. But can we appreciate the fact that this is another series to start? Like, of course, that was what was going to happen. I'm there going, I'm going to try and finish some series, continue some series, and it comes up with another one. But, you know, it will be good to get started. Okay, so the next one is a little less prescriptive, but let's go check out what the prompt is for this month. Okay, so we also need to make a pick for the Diverse Trope Challenge. So this one, it has a trope every month, and you have to pick a diverse book that has that trope in it. So books by marginalised authors. So if we have a look, what have we got? We have got workplace romance, mixing business with pleasure in a setting where professional boundaries are tested by undeniable chemistry. Ooh, I have to see if we've got one of those we can find. Alright, so I have been having a look through my to-read list for workplace romance, and it's also a bit tricky to find some of the tropes because it's not something that I tag in my to-read list, but I did manage to find one that fits the bill, and that is Love and Sports Ball by Mika James. So this is a basketball romance. It's a BIPOC author and it's also a sapphic book, so we definitely fit the bill for the diverse tropes theme. And you might have noticed this one is also on my physical TBR. This is one I picked up last year, so a 2025 book that I got for free at Rare. The author wasn't there, but it was one of the ones that the publisher put on the free books table. So that is exciting. I know very, very little about this. It's an author that I have enjoyed before, and I looked at it enough to confirm that it is workplace. So I believe it is like a coach or trainer plus one of the athletes. I think a trainer. This is literally how little I looked at it. But I have heard good things, and it will be good to have an excuse to pick this one up because I do tend to drag my heels a bit with picking up contemporary. So there we go. That's the next one on the list for the month. So then if we continue the theme of physical TBR reads, let's have a look at what I might read for each of the years. So 2024, these are all books that I picked up at Rare Edinburgh 2024, and they mostly fall into books by a couple of authors. So I think I am almost certainly going to pick up How Not to Date a Griffin, which I have this gorgeous edition of. Someone says, you know, special edition mass markets, and how was I supposed to resist? These ones are paranormal books that I have been working my way through the series this year. So this will be book 3 of 4, and they are nice. They're not too difficult reads. They're not like my magically favourite series or anything like that, but I'm very much enjoying working my way through, and so I imagine I will pick this one up because it's a nice series continuation. It's paranormal, which is where my brain wants to be at the moment, and it's another 2024 book. There is also the chance though that I might pick up This Used to Be Easier by Cassia Rose. So I have got 2 of Cassia's books that I haven't yet read. I did read one in January as well, so I'd had 3 coming into the year. And yeah, I just really want to get to them because I love all of her books. So yeah, it would be nice to have read them all. But I will say, because if I'm not fancying contemporary, particularly knowing I've got another contemporary romance on my list already, then I'm not going to force it because I want to enjoy them. So yeah, we'll see how my brain is feeling when I get to this. Now, obviously, for 2025, I have now got a book already, but I did have one in mind that I was thinking of reading before I got that pick come up on my challenge. So, I forgot to get it off my shelf, so now I have to get it out now. But it is Anna Maria and the Fox. So, yes, it is another first book in a series, okay? Please don't judge me too much. It just keeps happening somehow. I don't know, I feel like the books are trying to take things out of me at this point in time. But this one's a historical romance, and I read a historical romance last month and really enjoyed it. I might continue that series actually, because that was only a 2-book series. We'll get to that in a second. But it has made me really want to pick this one up because I have heard really good things about it. I remember very little. It's Victorian, so that's cool. But I have just heard good things. It looks pretty, it's on my shelf, and it's kind of calling my name. So I will probably get to this one in the month. Hopefully, we'll see how my brain feels. But the one that is definite, I know what I'm going to read, is my 2026 pick. So like I say, I've only got 2 books that I've bought so far this year that I have not read. And the big shock is one of those is Anna Lona Andrews' book. So I have owned Anna Lona Andrews' book on my shelf for over a month and I have not yet read it. So this is Beast Business. And this one is set in the Hidden Legacy world, which is my favourite series, possibly my favourite series of all time. Like, it's way up there. Certainly book 5 in that series is the book that I would tell you is my favourite book if you pressed me to say one book as my favourite. So we're right up there. Obviously, Lona Andrews, they are my favourite author. They're a husband and wife duo who just write incredible books. I have loved everything they have ever written. Now, the reason I have not yet read this book is because I was very fortunate in January to get an ARC of their book that is coming out in April. And I obviously read that when I got it. Absolutely loved it. Easily my favourite book that I read in January. And because of that, I didn't want to read this book too soon, because I knew that once I read this one, I wouldn't have any more books to read from them for quite a while. And so reading them too close together just felt wrong somehow in my brain. But we've given it a bit of time, and now it is the time. I have read so many snippets, like, in and around the characters in this book, and I believe there is also a little bit of extra POV from one of the sisters from the series as well. So yeah, I'm so excited. You can probably see just me talking about this that this one is going to be read very soon. Alright, so that has taken me up to 6 books so far. Now, I haven't picked a digital owned book to read, and honestly that's because when I'm looking at the list now, none of them are jumping out at me, which is probably the reason that they've all been sat on my list for so long, to be fair. So I'll just see what happens, how I feel. If one of them takes my fancy, fantastic. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We'll just play it by ear. But I do need to have a look at which series are going to be on my radar to continue. So I do have a series tracker in my reading journal. I will hopefully do a reading journal flick through soon. I would like to point out that there are in fact 3 pages of the series tracker because I have so many series that I'm currently in the middle of. But one of the main series that I'm working my way through this year is the Nightfire Quartet by Nisha J. Tooley. So I've read books 1 and 2, and book 3 is Storm of Ink and Blood. I will absolutely be reading that. It's fantasy romance. It's so good. I loved our other fantasy romance series that I read, enjoying this one just as much. So cannot wait to get back to that. I mentioned earlier that I might read the other historical romance from the series that I started. So that would be You're the Problem Is You. I read More Than a Best Friend last month. And yeah, that is just a duology. So that would tie that one off as well. And then the other one that is on my radar, depending on how much I am reading, is The Other Realm Universe by Heather G. Harris. So I'm trying to get myself to a certain point in the series this year, because one of the books I picked up in Rare last year that I got for free was a prequel of one of the series that's in the universe, and I'm trying to make sure I get up to that point so that I can read that in order. But I have still got another 6 books left to read before I get there. Last month I focused on the novellas that I'd kind of missed out as I was going through the order. So the next one that I have got is The Other Court, I believe it's called, that series. So Challenge of the Court would be the next one that I have in there. So it sounds a lot, having 6 more books to read until I kind of catch up with the point I want to get to, until you realise the fact that I've read 3 books from this series each of January and February. So it's my new thing. Apparently, this is all I do. At this rate, I will probably catch up with the entire universe by the end of the year. But I am absolutely certain that I will slow down at some point. So there we go. It's, I guess, kind of interesting to go through and get all of my thought processes in one go, actually see it all. It does feel a little bit more overwhelming, I have to say, actually putting books against things and having a list of books rather than the list of ideas. But also, I know it will be easier because I have got another busy month coming up, and just knowing that I've already done some of the thinking and I can just sort of pick up one of these books depending on which one feels right is kind of nice. But let me know if you have got any reading plans for March, any particular highlights coming up, and also let me know if you've got any thoughts on any of the books that have come up in my list. I would love to hear what you think, and I will see you soon. Bye.